Hello and welcome to today's video. This time I got some more bagging to do. It's going to be my beautiful vintage Ballantine science fiction and vintage paperback collection. So sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Okay, so it's been about a month since I last did any bagging, and I've pulled out all my vintage Ballantine collection. This is Ballantine number 16. Now, I would say that probably 2/3 of my Ballantine collection is science fiction, and I've got about a third which is more general stuff, short stories, things like that. But we'll have a good look at them as we go along. This is number 25. I really love Ballantine paperbacks, the vintage ones. I really do, but they're not that easy to get your hands on if you live in the UK like I do. So I grab them when I see them, basically, and a lot of mine, I would say probably half of mine have come from the States indirectly. A fair few of them were actually sold over here as imports, you know, but definitely not all of them. And what I'll do, I'll get a few done and then I'll go through and tape them up. This one is a bit thick, and I suspect it may not go in a regular paperback bag, but we'll certainly give it a try. May just be a bit too tight. Yeah, I think that's gonna struggle on that one. So we'll, for the big books, of which there's just a handful this time round, I've got these digest size bags, and they can I just slip the book in that. It'll just mean a little bit more taping down, that's all. Sturgeon. One thing you do notice with these books is because of their age. I mean, these, if we have a look at this one here, what's this, 1953? Because of its age now, it's 71 years old, the paper, in most circumstances, has started to age, and if you're not careful, you know, the brittleness can really sort of flake off. In fact, as I've been doing just these few early ones here, little flecks of paper has already sort of managed to flake off onto the table here, and that is just because of their age and the age of the paper that the books were printed on, you know. But that's another reason why, really, if we pop them into these beautiful bags, it's not going to hurt them. It should only protect them going forward, you know. Here's number 50, which is a real favourite of mine. It's the American John Wyndham for the Kraken Wakes, which they called Out of the Deeps in America. The first one, Dare the Triffids, came out as a popular library paperback the year before this one, and I don't know what happened, but they, you know, evidently there was something amiss, because the rest of the John Wyndhams were all Ballantine. So there you go. Once again, probably one of those stories that we'll never find out the reason why Popular Library didn't publish any more Wyndhams, you know. But when they're bagged up like that, particularly books with a black cover, they really are terrific, and they're so easy. If I fancy reading one of these, it's not difficult to whip it out of the bag and give it a read, is it? So that was always one of my little excuses for not bagging books, was the fact that I didn't want, you know, if I fancied pulling a book off the shelf, I didn't really want to go through the hassle of like debagging it. But it's not exactly a hassle, it's going to take less than 30 seconds. So I found that the books look really great when they're in these bags, and I think in a lot of cases I'm giving them the protection that they really A, deserve, and B, actually need, you know. And when they are bagged up, they do look really great on the shelf. Now, this is the first of one of the short story collections, and these are all, a lot of them, up until about, I think it was the 90s, maybe even 2000. They were all edited by Martha Foley, and the Ballantine published a fair few of them, but not all the years, and I don't know why that was. But this is the earliest one I've got, for 1953. This was the first one that Ballantine published, and because this is a big thick one, I've had to put it into a digest sized bag, but I don't mind that. I said it won't be all the books, it'll just be, well, probably these Best American Short Story anthologies. I really like these, they're great. I'd love to get them all. I mean, I really would, even if it was just the vintage paperback ones, but there's a fair few. But it's one of those series that, because they were published annually, or in Ballantine's case biannually, in a lot of cases, you do see the styles change over the years when you get them all out together. But the Ballantine science fiction, it's always been one of my favourites. And I remember when I first picked a few up in the 80s, I thought, cool, these are really nice. And I kept hold of them. Those copies were really sort of beaten up, but they had something about them. It was just something about them, and so different to the British ones. I mean, that's a wraparound cover on the John Wyndham there. But there we are. And then what I tend to do is just give them a little push. But these bags they don't like hold the air in. So look, just look at that. Don't you think they look really great? I do. I think they're really, really, really smart indeed, those, and it makes such a big difference. So let's get another few done. Beautiful Arthur C. Clarke. This is tip-top condition one as well. I did pick up, it was about December last year, as we filmed this, I got a little run of particularly top-grade paperbacks from a viewer of my channel. He was based in America, and he said, well, I've got these ones. You know, I'd like them to go to a keen collector, any that you fancy. And he sent me some photos, and there was some beautiful mint. Almost all the books were mint and unread. So I said, look, I'd like all of these if you don't mind. And he sent them over. I gave him a very fair price, so it wasn't like I ripped anybody off, but I was just so over the moon with the condition of them, you know. Absolutely amazing. And we will see some of those today, and I think that Arthur C. Clarke was one of them. Here's another one. I mean, I don't mind Arthur C. Clarke at all, and when I was growing up, these were the original sort of science fiction books that I was reading, because he was on TV quite a bit when I was a youngster. There was a TV show called Arthur C. Clarke's Mysterious World. There was the tie-in book to that, and it was like mysteries and unexplained and UFOs, and I was into it all. And when I found out that he was also a science fiction writer, well, I tested a lot of his books, you know, and probably ended up reading about 10 or so before, you know, whilst I was a teenager, really. There we are, Hero's Walk. But Ballantine had a good stable of authors, didn't they? And these are fairly easy to get, these Star short stories, the little anthologies. This is actually 3 like novelettes or novellas in this particular one. But they're fairly straightforward and easy to get hold of. Let's do one more. Shadow in the Sunshine, Oliver. There are some expensive ones. I think there's one with James Dean. You know, the actor James Dean who got killed. There's one with him on the front cover. I can't remember the exact book, but I remember thinking, cool, that's a nice looking paperback. And when when I went to see what it was going for, it was like $100. So I think unless I get lucky and come across that one, I don't think I'm going to be getting that one anytime soon, because you know, as much as I don't mind James Dean and love Ballantine, I don't think I'm ever going to be able to try and get them all. However, I have got a list of all the science fiction ones that they published early on, and I think that would be something I might try to obtain, is all their science fiction titles. Once again, I don't think there's anything that's going to be absolutely mega money, but there might be a few that are a bit pricey, shall we say, you know. But we'll see how we get on. It's just gorgeous to look through these beautiful books. And when I've got my collection all out, it's a little over two shelves full of vintage Ballantine. So, you know, compared to some of my other publishers, it's a drop in the ocean. But that doesn't stop me really loving what I've got, you know, as a collection. Now this one, I didn't get it quite tight enough down the bottom, so I'm just re-taping that one to make it nice and tight, you know. I don't want them flopping around. Now, you may have seen about a month ago, as we filmed this one, I did a video where I showed plastic cases, the Deflector DC cases, which are like almost bespoke, but they come in different sizes, and they do exist for A format paperbacks. So these ones here would fit absolutely perfectly in them. And Deflector DC are a local company to me, but their books are just, their cases rather, are absolutely fantastic. So if you've not seen that video, I do suggest going to have another look. I am intending to do some sort of themed videos with Deflector DC, where we concentrate on a particular publisher or a particular genre, something like that. So we're looking at doing some James Bond ones next. We'll do the Pan and Signet and American James Bond books. I think that'll be quite fun. Yet another Arthur C. Clarke. Of course, in the UK, a lot of them were published by Corgi, weren't they? Here's another Wyndham. Now, I went, someone said, oh, can you send me a link to the bags that I use in the video? And I always put a link to the bags that I use in the description down below. There's two places to buy them. So in the UK and USA, Amazon is the place. They've got two different sizes. They've got these and they've got the digest size bags. And then if you are in the UK and Amazon are out of them, which they're always out, so last week Amazon were out, I do suggest you just drop an email to my friend Dorset Bob, who's a science fiction specialist dealer. That's his forte, but he is an importer of these bags. And you can buy them by the 100 off Bob for £9.95, and you can get 200 with the postage staying at £2 for 200. So that's probably the best way to do it, and Bob's always got them in stock, pretty much always. So if you want them, once again, Bob's contact, just drop Bob an email. His contact details are below. He's also known as Mr. Book 451 at outlook.com. God, doesn't that look good? So that's how you get hold of Bob and get your own bags. So that's what I do. I generally pick them up 50 at a time, to be honest, you know. So 500, I should say, 500 at a time, because I've got so many books that are going to need doing. If you remember last time, I did the first 100 or so vintage pans, and we will carry on with those, but I like to sort of mix it up a little bit. And I thought, well, what would be a good thing to do in like one video? And I thought, well, the Ballantines is not, I don't know how many I've got here. It's not 100, but it must be about 80 or so, maybe. It may be a few more, I don't know, but I thought, yeah, let's do all these in one hit. These would be really cool. So hence this video today. But I've been looking at some of the other publishers that I think could really use bagging up, like my Digit books. And another chance to get those out, because I've once again had a few new editions, and my Badgers as well. The Badgers, I think, especially because they're, once again, they're printed on such poor quality paper. You can't help but think that the books are literally falling to bits, you know, or deteriorating while they're on your shelf. You know what I mean? I know the angle's not quite right, but don't they look lovely? They really, really do. Absolutely gorgeous. Now, next one is that's slightly out of position. This is the next one, a Robert Sheckley. And then we've got another biggie. I said I'm doing them in numerical order by the Ballantine series number. So this Robert Sheckley here is number 126. And then this is 133, but because it's a biggie, that needs to go in a tabloid. Like so. Another one of the great Martha Foley's. Now this is also a big one as well, so I'm going to I don't think this is going to go into a regular bag, but we'll give it a little try. It's by one of my favourites, Ray Bradbury. Yes, I'm not going to push that, I'm going to force that in. I actually think that I prefer, as it stands right now, I prefer Ray Bradbury over Harlan Ellison. And only because I've been rereading both lately. some of their short stories, both of which I think they were very good at knocking out. But I'm just more into Bradbury than Ellison right now. But I do like them both, of course, you know. A funky one, isn't it? E Pluribus Unicorn. Just do a couple more, then we'll bag them up. Couple of little marks on the cover there. These have all sort of been cleaned as they've come into my collection, so in most cases they are already in as good a condition cleaning wise as I can get them. They've all had their top edges brushed off and things like that, you know. Lovely. All right, so let's get these sealed. Now, if you go to any of the paperback shows, and as I film this, there's 2 on the horizon. Well, it's actually 3. There's the first one for me is Saturday, September the 8th. That's a penguin specific one. So the Penguin Collectors Society are meeting up in Exeter, and there will be some people, including myself, selling books there. I'm obviously just taking penguin books. Then the very next day, there is the Zardos paperback show. Now, that's in Wiltshire. That's at Morris's warehouse in Dilton Marsh. And that's got a few dealers going along. Dorset Bob will be there. I will be there. Definitely some other dealers, but I don't know their names. But there's going to be some other paperback dealers going along as well. And as well as the dealers, you will have access to Morris's warehouse, his internet warehouse, which is what houses all his internet stock. And this is the first time ever that it's been opened to the public, as it were. You just turn up and you've got access to it. He has allowed myself and the Outlaw bookseller Steve to go and film it a few times now, actually. And he has allowed a couple of collectors to sort of, who are going to be buying in bulk, to go along with him, sort of by appointment, as it were. You can't just sadly rock up and just go in, because he's not always there, of course. It's an internet warehouse sort of business. He does run it with his sons as well. He's got a couple of sons who help out on the day-to-day mail order side of it, because Morris is in his 70s now. But I think it's going to be a really, really great day. I don't think there's any entry fee or anything, or if there is, it'll be very, very minimal, like 50p or something like that, probably nothing. So just rock up, fill your boots. Morris's internet warehouse is right next door to his retail shop, where all books are £1. So you literally cannot go wrong. Fill your boots up for that sort of money, you know. So all I can say is I hope to see you there. So so a lot of Morris's internet stock is all bagged. It's all in bags like this to protect it. And when you go to the shows, in a lot of cases, the dealers who go along are exactly the same. They have they bag their stock up, particularly their nice stuff, so it just doesn't get damaged, and people's sort of fingerprints and stuff getting onto the books. Nobody likes that. So I certainly don't. So when I go to the show, my best books, anything over like £3.50, £4, is all going to be bagged up and protected to, just to keep it nice. And also, if you're going to be laying down a bit of money to buy an expensive book, you almost sort of expect it to be in a bag. I don't know about you, but I certainly do. Right, where are we? I think this may have got ever so slightly out of order, so I just had to find the spot for that one. Got quite a fair few Philip Jose Farmer, and because I collect him, that's lovely, isn't it? Because I collect Jose Farmer in his own right, a fair few Ballantines I already had in my sort of Philip Jose Farmer collection. I have pulled the Farmers I am planning a dedicated farmer video fairly soon, along with Harry Harrison. I'm very, very close now to having everything in paperback first. I mean, really close, like just a handful of books. And that's no tall order with someone like Harry Harrison and Jose Farmer. Asimov is another author I'm collecting, but I'm a bit further off on them. I've got all the main ones. It's some of the obscure stuff that I've not been able to find yet in original paperback form. But I'm working on it. All right, we'll do one more, I think. Look at that suspense. Not science fiction. As you can see, a lot of my collection is science fiction with Ballantine, just because I just love Ballantine science fiction so much, but not all of it. If I come across it cheap and cheerful, and it's in the Ballantine numbered series, believe me, I'm going to be picking it up, you know. All right, another one of these massive, giant short story collections. I remember I got these first few very early in my paperback collecting days, and I can't remember where I got them from. I think it was from the States, but they were in a little lot and they weren't expensive. They worked out about £3 each, and I got these first 4 that we've seen so far. And I thought, oh, I've got to get some more of these. And when I looked into it, I found some of the later designs online, like the 60s ones and that, of which we got a few today. Yeah, we got some 60s ones at least. But they're just difficult to find in nice condition, you know. It's just how they are. I was listening to a podcast recently called She Done It, which is a sort of a classic crime podcast, and they were saying they had an author on there, I forget her name, but she was really, really insightful. And she said that publishers nowadays are really not keen on short stories. I thought, how weird is that, you know? Because for me, they're amongst my favourite things to read, because, you know, there's so much great stuff out there. I love reading short stories, I really do, you know? So I was quite surprised by that. But I know there are still short story anthologies being published, so... And Nicholas Rawle does one, doesn't he? He edits one, or has done for years. So I don't know where she was coming from, but who's to say, you know? But I, for one, am a fan. And one of these days I will pull all my science fiction anthologies together for like a dedicated video, because I have got quite a few of them now. I mean, I must have, well, I don't know, 150, something like that, maybe more. I'm always dipping in and out of them, but a lot of them duplicate content. That's the only drawback with science fiction anthologies, particularly when you start getting American ones and British ones. All right, look at that. Lovely. Excellent stuff. Right, carrying on, the Outward Urge here. Ballantine 341. Yeah, Chad Oliver, not an author I've read. But I got about 3 by that person. This is slightly thinner. This is a Best American Short Story for 1959, and I suspect this may just fit in a normal paperback bag. Is it got it? Yeah, look at that. It's fairly snug, and we don't like to if they're too snug, it'll just ripple it, but that's okay. It lies flat, so that's absolutely fine on that one. For 1959. Another Jose Farmer. Strange Relations. That's what you're looking for if you look for these books online. These bags, rather. It's the BCW. 100 bags, 2mm polypropylene. They're the A format ones. And the digest size bags, they look like these. They've got a picture of Isaac Asimov's digest on the front. So that's the 2 different sizes to keep your eyes peeled for if you are looking for these online. Frederick Poole. Virgin Spring. See, this is nothing to do with science fiction. It's a movie tie-in. Ingmar Bergman. And my second favourite, John Wyndham. What a great cover, isn't it? Yeah, really cracking, that one. Trouble with Lycan. Yeah, After Dare the Triffids, that's my next favourite. And we'll do one more. Another really great cover. When is this dating from? 1961. These are, I think 99.9% of these are all Ballantine first printings. I think there may be a couple of later reprints. Right, let's bag these up and tape them rather. Really does sort of finish them up beautifully, doesn't it? Really does. It is true that they are consistently gorgeous. It's as simple as that. They really are beautiful. Very nice. Even the non-science fiction stuff is nice, I think. They're so of their time, aren't they? And when you read a book like this, you are, in a way, sort of transported back to the time when it was published. And I really like that, particularly with science fiction. There we are. And they look gorgeous. I love them. Another great one there. Particularly tough to find, I would think, with the black cover. But once again, you see the 2 and 6 there in the top. That's a TP, Thorpe and Porter, that stands for. And this was, it says British edition, but it's the American printing, just with a Thorpe and Porter import sticker on. That's all that is. Nice Jose Farmer. Gorgeous. And these sorts of books really do deserve their bagging. This is a nice one. Look at this, full of pictures. Absolutely gorgeous. It's basically the script book. Brilliant, eh? La Dolce Vita. Beautiful Ballantine book, that. Really desirable, in my eyes. Very nice indeed. Mr. Del Rey. Now I've got a few here that are slightly, a couple of them were out of order, so I'm going to try and keep to the script here and put them in order as we go along. I think I can visually do it. This is another one, one I got fairly recently, I think on my last trip to Zardoz, as we speak about it, actually talk about it, and it was that one there. Look at that. What a great jacket that is, a horror one. 6 Tales of Crawling Horror. Crawling. There's another Jose Farmer. The Day the Earth Caught Fire. This is one I got from that collection I mentioned at the start. Leo McKern on the back. It's another movie tie-in. And another non-fiction one. Jet. Right, let's get those bagged up. Hopefully it's some enjoyable paperback eye candy to while away the days. Certainly I don't need much of an excuse to get to get these books out, but at the same time I think I've probably shown them enough on the channel now for a while at least, unless I get some beautiful new editions, of course, which is always a possibility. You never know what's around the corner. Although I am a little bit, as you're probably aware, a bit penguin booked out at the moment. But thankfully I've almost finished processing them. It's been a long job. Pretty much doing 100 a day. And some of these Ballantines, the later ones, didn't actually get included when I last shown by Ballantine Collection on the channel, because they were elsewhere or with other collections, so it's a chance to sort of catch up a little bit and fill in the gaps, as it were. But that's all them looking rather nice. Now we got another Best American. I think this might be my last one, 1962. So this one's a little bit nondescript. Certainly some of the later ones, sort of the mid-60s, 67, they're really like flower powery, got all the love stuff. It's psychedelic slightly, brilliant. Really much of their time. This is actually the most restrained 60s one I think there is, actually, because it's mainly typographical. But there are some great ones later on. Once again, a bit of a tight fit. Is it going to lie flat? Yeah, just touch and go that, but I'll let it go. Oh, here's a nice one. Look at that, Martian time slip. Philip K. Dick. We like him, of course, on this channel. Very popular author. Another Jose Farmer, later one now. The numbering's changed now slightly. I said I'll try, I think I've got the books down in order. There's just one old one here that fell out of place. And actually it goes in right there, so that's perfect. So yeah, we'll keep trying to put these in order. I said these ones here were just part of my Jose Farmer collection. And I'm not sure I actually even included them last time. And I've also got some which were part of the Gore set that I've got, the American Gore by John Norman set, of which I know they're a bit silly, but you know how it is. Oh, look, I did have another one, 1964. There we are, slightly funkier than the last one we saw, which is cool. So we'll let it off. Is it going to fit in? It's going to be tight again, but yeah, we got it. And then, yeah, the first 6 or 7 Gore books were published by Ballantine before they moved over to Dole Books. This is the very first Gore, Tarnsman of Gore. Bit of a ropey old copy, this one. So I wouldn't mind a better one of these on the upgrade. list if I come across it. I think the first 3 aren't too bad at all. They are perhaps the best. And then the later books have got elements, good story elements in them. If you can look beyond the stupid S&M and sadomasochism and sex, basically, you know, but you need to look beyond that to see the science fiction elements of it. And in the end, you know, you just sort of lose interest. Unfortunately, that's how it goes. But the series was very long-lived, and it's at 25 books in its original run. Then it came back for, I think, another 10, maybe even more. But, you know, they are what they are, aren't they, you know? Certainly the early ones were enjoyable, but they do get a little bit silly, I'm afraid to say. But good fun to collect, and a brilliant packaging throughout the Gore Books career, both in the UK and the USA. I mean, really, really terrific from that point of view. Great books to look at. But if you can get great looking books and also great content, then you're on to an absolute winner, aren't you? And that's what we all strive for. Quite a tight little fit, this one. Let's make sure it's fully in the bag, as it were. There we are. Just fits in, that novel from 1964. And this one, yeah, I must get around to upgrading this, because it does sort of let the side down. But I collected the Gore books long before I collected like Ballantine as a publisher, you know. But it does, yeah, letting the old side down a little bit, but not massively, compared to, you know, this one, which is much better, Outlaw Gore. December 1967. In the UK, of course, we had, well, in fact, in both UK and USA, they had some absolute top authors and artists on the Ballantine list. And I think it shows. They are consistently great looking books, aren't they? They really, really are. Another Wyndham there. This is obviously a different style now, with the almost like a vignette approach to it. That's early Larry Niven there. And I think my collection goes up to the late 1970s, but obviously much more sporadic. After that, it's the gorgeous, it's the 50s ones that I really, really like. But we got these Gore ones, because as I said, I got the full set of the Gore books. So these early ones are all Ballantine. And I just wonder if Donald Wilhine may have just somehow tempted John Norman to come over to Dore and say, look, I'll give you the treatment if you're willing to come over. And I doubt he took much persuading, to be honest. Robert Silverberg, recently at the WorldCon. I'd like to have gone, if I'd have gone to that, it would have been mainly to see him. I would have pulled all my Silverberg books out. Do one more. I was saying to a friend of mine that I've got quite a lot of Silverberg's really early stuff from the 50s. That was like sleeve paperbacks, and they were all written under a pseudonym. I don't know how he would have felt about selling those. He probably would have just laughed and said, yeah, put them here, I'm sure. He just strikes me as that sort of a guy. He wouldn't have cared at all, I'm sure. A slightly bent back cover. I just don't want to damage that at all. Trying to get it to lie flat. A little bit of paper there. Got it. Lovely. Right, let's get this lot done. We are sadly fairly near the end. We've only got one more batch to do after this. But I think you'll agree, we've seen some Very, very nice books indeed. Get given new overcoats. And even sort of lower grade books very, very much benefit from being bagged up, because it just stops them getting any worse. But if you've got books that are absolutely in beautiful fine condition, these bags sort of accentuate that, you know, they make them look even better, I think, because they really pop. They're not mylites, they're not made of mylar material, but they are long lasting, so they're not going to look awful after 5 years, you know, they're just going to retain their glossiness, which is great. It's what you need. And BCW have been around a long time, and they don't just do paperback bags, although they make the best ones out there. They do comic bags as well, and I've used some of those magazine bags. They're just difficult to get over here because they're a tricky company to deal with for importing, unless you're a massive, massive concern. But the fact that they keep selling out on Amazon is probably a very good sign that their quality is the one. It's really great, you know. Look at that. Right, let's do, sadly, the final little batch, but still great books. So these are much more recent. These are tail end 1970s ones, which is fine, you know, we don't mind. Just even when you think the 1970s is 50 years ago now, you know. So, right, I need a handful more from my packet here. I know this is going to be too thick for a paperback bag, I'm sure. Oh, yeah, it's not even worth wrestling with that one. He's going to have to go straight into a digest bag. But what a jacket that is. I wonder if it gives the illustrator. Often they do. Yeah, Gino de Chili. He did stuff for Door as well. This one might just go in. Is he gonna? Gonna be tight? Yes, no. Yeah, he just went in. It was tight though. As long as it lays flat, that's okay. And it does. Yeah, so just in, and then the very last one is this one, Raiders of Gore, which once again will be tight, but he should go in without too much incident. Yeah, there we are. Right, let's get this last lot bagged up. Or sealed up, I should say. So, let me know what you'd like to see next in the bagging department, because amazingly this was video number 14 of bagging books, if you can believe it. So I'd be quite happy to do my ace books. I'd be up for doing the next 100 penguins, the next 100 pans, digit or badger. I think that's your choice. All right, so answers in a comment below. I'd also like to know if you're bagging your books based on seeing me do mine. Have you been spurred on to look after your sort of collectible titles now, as I have, you know? Interested to have a bit of a debate about that, really. To bag or not to bag. I was so against it for so many years, and now I can see the real advantage of doing it, you know? I got to admit, by because the library has expanded, like all our libraries, I suppose, I've got more and more books, I sort of feel a bit of long-term protection is perhaps the way to go, you know? Anyway, if you've enjoyed today's video, I would appreciate a thumbs up. If you haven't already, do please give the video a comment or spread it around, share it amongst your friends. If you've not already, do please hit that subscribe button so you never miss another one of these videos. All my other content, of which many is varied but full of vintage paperback action. And I shall look forward to seeing you again very soon with another video. Bye.